Hey everybody, Zachman18 here. Welcome back to the WTZM TV channel 18 Superstation. As you guys know, I am a big fan of the Pixar movies. I've loved every single one that has come out. I just recently saw Frozen, and that was really good. But this is gonna be a video about actually Pixar movies, and this is something that I've actually read a couple of months ago. I've read it a couple times now just to kind of make kind of go over it and see try to think of more things to think of this thing I'm about to read you guys. It's called the Pixar Theory, and what it basically is, it's a big hullabaloo of a bunch of the past Pixar movies blending in together and having an actual connection with each other. When what exactly do I mean? Let me show you. Here is the Pixar Theory. Alright guys, so here is the Pixar Theory. It's all of the Pixar movies actually existing within the same universe in chronological order. So without further ado, let's jump into it and see what this theory is all about. So we start off in the 14th to 15th century with the movie Brave, with Merida discovering the will of the wisps. The magic turns her mother into a bear. This magic is why animals and inanimate objects, also known as brooms and tools, behave like humans. Magic was utilized by a witch who mysteriously vanishes through wooden doors. Eventually, the magic from the will of the wisps would lead to the birth of superheroes. Humans and animals alike discovering magic. Here we see animals beginning to behave like humans, and inanimate objects beginning to move on their own from the power of magic. Then we move to the 50s through 60s with The Incredibles. Superheroes maintained order in the world, but Buddy, a wannabe superhero, created two things for the demise of superpowered humans: self-serving AI bots like the Omnidroid and the high-tech zero-point energy electromagnetic energy that exists in a vacuum. This is the pivotal moment where we see machines eradicating their only threat, supers. Eventually, toys start to absorb and draw their powers from zero-point energy, which is unseen energy that travels in wavelengths. Syndrome utilizing zero-point energy, which is later used by toys in this picture, and the Omnidroid showing first signs of artificial intelligence turning against humans. Then we move to 1997 through 1998 with Toy Story, the first Toy Story that is. The first signs of life from toys are now present due to Syndrome's technological prowess. Toys, or sentient objects, come up with a code of rules and learn that human love is another energy source upon which they thrive. These toys discover what happens to toys that are isolated from humans. The toys work together to avoid being discovered by humans. They learn to utilize human love as another energy source, and they discover the barbaric nature of humans and begin to dislike them. Then we move to the next Toy Story movie in 1999 with Toy Story 2, where the toys discover that it's dangerous for them to be isolated from humans. We start to see inanimate objects question their purpose in life, for example, Jessie resenting her owner Emily for abandoning her, and resentment towards humans was not only carried by inanimate objects, but by animals as well. Inanimate objects beginning to question their purpose in life, and feelings of resentment building up when the toys are abandoned. Then we move to 2003 with Finding Nemo. In the ocean, we find that fish are incredibly advanced. They have schools, a network, and a freeway system. We discover that humans are polluting the earth and experimenting on them. Dory was one of the animals that was experimented on, which is why she is forgetful. There are signs of resentment growing towards humans for polluting the environment, stealing fish, and caging them. Animals begin to be more curious and carry more humanistic characteristics. We see that fish have high IQ levels, resulting in organized schools, networks, and freeway systems. Dory is one of the many fish who have suffered from being experimented on, and fish becoming aggravated and beginning to rebel against the humans. Then after Finding Nemo, we move to 2007 with Ratatouille. In Ratatouille, Remy discovers his love for cooking and displays human characteristics. Some of them are walking on his hind paws, cleaning his hands, reading, and cooking. This is the first time we see personal interaction between human and animal, but it is for the purpose of controlling humans. Remy controls Linguini because Linguini does not know how to do anything. We see that Remy's rat clan does not approve of the humans and feels both fear and hate towards them. Here we see animals wanting to behave more like humans, the animals beginning to learn how to control the humans, and the rats beginning to overtake the humans. Then we move to 2010 with Toy Story 3. This is 3 years later, and toys have gone through a lot with humans. If you've seen the movie, you can tell why most of the toys have had it. Being abused physically and emotionally by humans. Lotso, the Huggen Bear, straight up hates humans because they use and discard toy objects like they are nothing. He starts trying to take care of his own kind. This provides yet another reason why machines and objects alike are ready to take over. Carl and Ellie write to Andy telling him to get rid of his toys because they know the animosity between toys and humans coming ahead, and that's why they're planning on living in solitude. The humans begin to abuse the toys both emotionally and physically. Human treatment of toys results in hatred from toys such as Lotso. By and large, his reach begins to grow, and we can see by the B&L batteries in the back of Buzz Lightyear. And in Toy Story 3, we see a postcard from Carl and Ellie written to Andy. Then we move from 2011 to 2016 for Up. Carl is forced to give up his house to a corporation/B&L because they are expanding the city. This is foreshadowing. This corporation is the cause for polluting the earth and wiping out life in the distant future as a result of technology overreach. Carl discovers that animals can communicate with humans and sees the bitterness that they have. Charles Muntz effectively trains an army of dogs. This is the start of the tipping point between animals and humans. Years later, the uprising between animals and humans begins. Who do you think won that war? So as you we can see the large corporation B&L taking over the world. Carl discovers that animals can talk, and Charles Muntz creates an army of talking dogs. Next up, we move to Cars, from 2100 to 2200. When animals rose up against the humans to stop the pollution, the machines saved the humans and they won the war. However, since machines helped humans win, it tipped the balance on Earth. Machines/B&L had to send the remaining humans off into space on a ship called Axiom. All of the other machines were left behind to populate the world and run things. But how do we know Cars took over Earth and not another planet? Machines are still heavily influenced by humans, which explains human landmarks and traditions that are prominent in Cars, like customs like drive-in movie theater, Route 66, and more. Also, here is the Axiom in flight. The humans had to flee Earth to avoid extinction during the war. Then we move to Cars 2, from 2100 to 2200 as well. In Cars 2, the cars go to Europe and Japan, which shows that it's the same planet as all the other Pixar movies. It also shows that there are no humans throughout the world. The world at this time ends up with an energy crisis as oil is the only energy used for cars. Alanol Corporation was using green energy as a catalyst for a fuel war in order to turn cars away from alternative energy sources. That clean fuel could have been used to swiftly wipe out or decommission many of the cars. Alanol was run by B&L, which eventually polluted the whole Earth due to its use of oil. The whole world becomes unfit to sustain life. We see the cars in Japan proving that cars exist on Earth, not an alternate world. Alanol was a cover to help, by and large, eliminate green energy. And here we see an attempt to decommission a small group of cars. Decommissioning was the term B&L came up with to take emphasis away from the genocide that was actually taking place. Then we move even more into the future with WALL-E from 2800 to 2900, where Earth has become uninhabitable for hundreds of years due to B&L. The corporation took over the world and governments starting in the 1950s. WALL-E is the only machine left on Earth after it ran out of resources. He survived because he is fascinated with human culture and also his friendship with a cockroach, which helped maintain his personality and fulfillment. Robots and machines on Axiom, having left Earth centuries earlier, show that machines develop a sense of purpose out of the human's dependence on them. WALL-E is a robot Jesus, and he and his love, the appropriately named Eve, save the human race and start a new beginning on Earth again. During the credits of WALL-E, we see the shoe that contains the last of plant life, and it grows into a mighty tree. There is evidence that 1. WALL-E is able to survive due to his interaction with another life form, and 2. Bugs also found a way to survive on Earth. Some of the wreckage left behind by the by and large corporation. The tree that grew from the boot Wall-E found grows into the tree that we see in A Bug's Life, which leads us to our next movie. From 2898 to the year 3000 is A Bug's Life. The same plant that we see in Wall-E grew to be the tree in A Bug's Life. Insects have a longer lifespan in A Bug's Life. Prior to Wall-E, an ant can last just 3 months. However, in A Bug's Life, these ants all survive an entire summer and allude to being around for quite some time. One ant states that he feels 90 again. This indicates that ants are sturdier as a result of evolution and mutated genes. Another ant tells Flick not to leave the island because there are snakes, birds, and bigger bugs out there. They do not mention humans because there are very few humans to make it dangerous enough for insects to worry about. However, one kid did allegedly pick the wings off of the homeless bug. Later in the distant future, animals start evolving into the dominant species. Insects in the future are living and behaving more like humans. There are cities, bars, a traveling circus, and they wear clothes and contraptions. Along with us seeing that ants in the future can live to be 90 plus years old. Along with ants in the future inventing tools and gadgets. Then we move way far in the future from 4500 to the year 5000 with Monsters University. Hundreds of years after Wall-E, animals started changing due to radiation caused by BNL. These animals evolved into monsters and accidentally wipe humans off the face of the planet. Monsters University was founded in 1313. This is dated using the Monsters calendar, not the human calendar, and shows that it took place almost 1400 years after A Bug's Life. At Monsters University, they falsely taught the monsters that humans were toxic and from another dimension. This was because monsters were worried about being erased from existence and altering history. Animals evolved into monsters, which founded Monsters University in the year 1313. And monsters were falsely taught to believe humans are toxic, which leads us to our final movie, Monsters, Inc. Monsters and Machines didn't realize their mistake of getting rid of humans until it was too late. They eventually realized that humans were their source of energy and needed to sustain life. Machines helped solve that by letting monsters use doors to time travel to the human generations. This leads us to Boo. Sully and Mike using doors to travel back in time to gather energy from human screams, and later green energy through laughter. In Monsters, Inc., we see Randall sent through a door into the past where he ends up in a trailer that looks newer, with frame, tall grass, tree hanging overhead. But in A Bug's Life, we see the same trailer, but it's old and run down, and the vegetation is less and noticeably drier, indicating that it is in the future. Mike put Boo's door back together for Sully so he could see Boo one last time. And that brings us to Boo. Sweet little Boo never got over Sully and became obsessed with finding out what happened to him. She remembered that doors are the key to finding Sully. Later on in life, she figured out how to time travel using wooden doors and goes back to the source of all magic, the Will of the Wisps, and creates magic to find Sully by using wood. Boo leaves evidence behind in Brave, 2 carvings whittled out of wood. They were Sully and a pizza truck, the 2 things she loves most in life. Although she knows how to travel through time, she does not know how to determine what time period we'll go to. Therefore, speculation has it that Boo is the one planting the Easter eggs throughout all the Pixar movies because she has been accidentally going through different time periods. Here is Boo's reminiscing of pizza by carving the Pizza Planet truck. And Boo's obsession of searching for Sully is found in her wood carvings in Brave. Boo discovered that wood was the source of energy all along. How did Flick and Heimlich from A Bug's Life show up in Toy Story 2? So first of all, in Monsters, Inc., they used doors made of wood because it has the energy to travel in time. The wood from A Bug's Life is the source of Flick's ingenuity. That tree, A Bug's Life, bears a resemblance to the one in Up that Carl and Ellie often visited. This tree was the source of Carl's wild idea of balloons transporting his house. And then, Boo tried to go to the future and could have fallen into the Wall-E time period, which was 2100 to 2900, and kept traveling, stumbling upon the tree in A Bug's Life, and could have brought back a few bugs with her. Now, why did the witch turn Queen Eleanor into a bear in Brave? This was Boo's failed attempt at bringing Sully back. The bear somewhat resembles Sully. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Pixar Theory. So what do you guys think of the Pixar Theory? Let me know in the comments section below, or send me a message on YouTube. I'd really like to know what you guys think of it. So thanks for watching, everybody. That was the Pixar Theory. I'm Zachman18, and as always, I will see you guys in my next video, coming soon. Peace out.